Ready? You mind being on TV?
Oh, am I on this?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out in the corner.
You don't have
I'll
to.
move over closer.
There you go. Now you're a movie star. We have a guest today.
Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM. We have a guest.
We have a guest.
What do we got?
Wendy.
Wendy
from
Prettyman.
Progressive, should I even say?
Sure.
Should we say where you're from?
I don't know. Why not? Progressive Treatment Solutions.
Yeah, and what do you do there?
I'm growing with Nectar.
On a commercial scale.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. In the Midwest, which is shocking. So
Yeah.
the Midwest has actually got a high bar right now. It's kind of nice to see. We got some in Oklahoma, Michigan, Illinois. You know, if Ohio would get their stuff together.
Yeah, hopefully
Just
we'll have
kidding.
it
They
in
do
all
good.
the states shortly.
Yeah, aren't you guys trying to expand at this time
Yeah.
and blow
Yeah.
up? Yeah, well, Wendy's proving to us that Nectar can out-yield a salt room from master growers. 20-year-old master growers are teaching us that Nectar can be a very lucrative nutrient line.
This pertains to one of our questions.
Kinda. We're still breaking down cost per. Yeah, but you can go
Yeah.
start with that question.
It's from last one, and he says, "This shit is way too much money. Way too much money. You could never be able to run it in a commercial setting. It is way, way, way too expensive."
And what would your 2 cents be to that question or that comment? That's not a question.
Not so much
That's
a question,
statement or an opinion.
My first quip would be, you get what you pay for. If you're going to get a quality product, you're going to need to use a quality feed.
And when you just had a room side by side, well, you got one room to many other rooms, so they had a lot of opportunity to beat your room.
Right.
Like even 20 times the same space. Their average yield was roughly
Maybe 50 to 60 pounds?
to how many lights is in that space?
I have no idea. I never went in there. I don't go in their rooms.
She doesn't want mold on her.
I don't want mold on me.
So yeah, they had about 50 to 60 pounds there, and your pull for the same size space and the same environment was
169 pounds.
So even if this shit was 3 times as expensive, it's
Yeah.
still penciling out at
Well,
the end.
even if you yield more, you're fighting major East Coast investors, and the names are only getting bigger and the pockets getting deeper as you go into this industry. So if you want to fight them out on average, you're going to lose. The only place you're going to go as a small provider, even a mid-sized one, is by doing quality, something that people take notice of. Because if not, you're just going to be fighting a logo that's got way more dollars behind it than you could ever imagine.
You know, when that lime green Marlboro pack turns dark green and has a leaf on it, then you've lost the game.
Yeah,
So if you're not making Hop Valley weed, you're only going to be smoking Budweiser weed.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, there's a market for all of it. There definitely is. But you know, I'd rather be the 5% on top than the 95% of the sheep.
Well, they're going to win on economies of scale and on massive marketing dollars, and you
never
can't
own
beat
a
them on
Lamborghini
everything.
from this. You're never going to drive a Ferrari from growing top scale, but you're going to go home every night and sleep.
Yeah.
And you're going to know that your patients are consuming something clean and healthy.
Right.
Because the one thing that the East Coast, the Midwest, the South, you know, they all are understanding what high THC is. When high THC is like taking a spray paint, putting it into a bag, sniffing it, and then going for about 10 minutes, and then you crash. That's nothing fun about THC. It's not part of the medicine. It's part of the high. And what people don't understand is THC isn't the cure. THC isn't the pain relief. It's all the terpenes. It's all the cannabinoids that attach to THC for this delivery system. So it's educating these people in the Midwest, the East Coast, that great, look at my 18 to your 29%, but I have 17 terpenes at about 8% of the flower profiles, where you've got 2% and 4 different terpenes.
Yeah.
So it's like eating salad with iceberg, croutons, and cucumbers versus frickin' everything in my garden all slashed into one little thing. It's called health. So, you know, apples to oranges, that's what we're dealing with here. So yeah, we challenge you on the scale thing. Yeah, maybe not if you're running 72,000 acres of hemp. It's
And
probably
just
not
maybe.
commercially effective.
Just maybe not. You know, but then you get
fined.
yeah. Well,
So
all right. Question
Who's
answered.
that? Or
Okay.
statement countered.
Statement countered. What do you got to say to that?
Oh man, don't
Last
stop.
one?
Now he's becoming mad.
No, last one. We're not. We got love and peace for everyone. I'd be curious what he has to say about that. Let's just have a conversation.
Why don't you start a commercial grow and tell us how unaffordable it is? I dare you.
Okay, let's move on to Space Drews. Hi, Bob. Question for Scott. I have a heavy feeder in the grow room. I can feed at 12 ppm and still...
1200.
1200. Sorry.
12 ppm, you don't have a heavy feeder. You're growing salad. So...
He's like...
Shit, that's too much. Oh, that's 120 parts per million. So...
And I still wind up between 150 and 200 ppm in the slurry test by my next feed. So that's when he's going through to the next feed.
Right.
Okay. I feed with every water every other day. I have been keeping the ratio on the feed schedule consistent, just increasing by the same percentage each time. So he's taking everything on the feed chart and he's just bumping that up a mil or two or whatever. He says, so my question is, are there particular nutrients that are more beneficial to increase than others? Anything that I should be wary about increasing too much? I am currently running the sample kit. Thanks for that, by the way, but leaving out BK because I'm afraid of it. So thanks for all the time and care you've put into this line as well as into the channel. I've learned a ton and I'm incredibly grateful. So first, the BK thing, probably smart when you're first getting started. He's wise to do that.
Well, and
especially when he can't get enough in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the other thing, so he knows to increase it more. He needs more, but should he do more of one thing or more of all things equally? And is there anything he shouldn't do much of?
So, I mean, we could go on this conversation for hours. So, with your sample kit, basically Zeus is the humic acid piece. You don't ever need to push that. There's no benefit. More is not better. It won't harm anything. It's just a waste of your money. 5 mils, you're conditioning soil, you're conditioning nutrition. So, 5 to 10 mils max on that. Don't push that. I kind of like, especially with the sample kit, that's basically what I run in my garden, and what I like to do is push the Medusa we look at as a grow formula, and the Gaia we look at as a base bloom formula. So if I have to push, and I'm not in the next cycle of early veg, early flower, mid flower, whatever the stage is in, I will bump up the base of the nutrition.
So you lean into Gaia at the start and lean into Medusa at the finish?
No.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, okay.
Medusa in the grow, Gaia in the bloom.
Okay.
And I always push Herc harder, just because I believe in it.
And it's got the most yieldy kind of, and also the most probably
root development, the most flavor, the most oil production, the most sugar content, everything that bone meal is going to do. That's the one I push the hardest. And then, but you're at such a low ppm in the soil. The other thing too is maybe even sprinkling a little bit of one shot in that soil. Build up a little bit of reserve behind the nutrition, and that way, if you are missing a couple beats on what the plant wants, they're going to be able to access it through the one shot. But for these, I mean, keep Zeus where it is. If you're in veg, you can bump Medusa. If you're in bloom, you can bump Gaia. Athena's in both for early flower and late veg. But Herc is going to be the one you want to push the hardest there.
How does your flush day factor into this?
Well, the flush day for this is literally, you have no problems, you're not having any issues, so you're really just doing a root cleanse in the sense of don't oversaturate, just give them the bone meal to strip off any excess sodium, and then the plant's just going to keep eating. The downfall, this person listened really well, and so they probably watched a few videos, probably read a few things about feeding less more often, and he's feeding a lot. If he's at 1200 and 2 days later he's at 120, that plant is now, he's built a metabolism rate in this plant that now he's going to have to feed. I mean,
it's got to go.
But you're going to yield from that because you're going to be putting in that much more. Your plant is going to respond.
If you're low on your ppms, that your plant's hungry, does that change your T day in any way?
It depends on what you're using for teas, really. I mean, if you're using a nutrient-consuming tea, a lot of bacteria, then you might want to back off of those and stick with more fungal teas. Something that's going to go in there and kind of protect the plant more than anything else. But I don't use a lot of teas when I'm below 200 because there's not a lot for them to eat.
Sure.
So now they're stripping all the nutrition out, and now I really have to feed them almost hydroponically.
So you might back off a little on your flush and your tea days, as far as maybe not doing your tea day one time, maybe doing less on your flush and pushing harder on the other to go.
And our flushes too are a feed, so
you're
not really flushing, you're giving them more bone meal.
Sure.
So no matter what, even though we call it a flush and a reset, it's still giving them food. And I'd even throw it with your parts per million, I'd be throwing Gaia in with your flush.
That's what I was curious about.
Just bump that bump that parts per million up so you're not losing nutrition on your flush day.
So, like, if you were doing 10 already, you do 10 again, you do whatever
I
you're
just
doing.
maintain it.
Whatever you're maintaining, you go all the way through. Okay.
And if your plants look healthy, then you're doing fine. Just keep doing what you're doing, bumping them up, bumping them up. When you start to see a little tip burn and it's not from overwatering, it's just actually nutritional, then just back off to where you were 2 days ago feeding.
Okay. We're rolling along. Okay, let's see here. Gary Bramblett says, I am starting a Roman feeding, but my work takes me away from time to time. Can I use one shot and still do Romans? So he's wondering if he's going to be okay to do the Roman, but then when he takes off for 3-4 days, maybe 2 days, you're going to be okay to just have some one shot in there. And how soon before would you put the one shot in there?
Well, I'd put it at the beginning.
And you'd just be one shotting all the way through, so that always
if you're like, I'm leaving on Tuesday, so on Monday I'm throwing one shot, well, that one shot becomes available the 3 days after you get back.
Okay.
So just put it in your soil as part of your nutrition, and then feed, then go away for 3 days, have somebody come in and just put like a cap of Gaia in a gallon.
Okay.
Water that. So, I mean, Gaia is so neutral, it will work with any...
They can just throw some in there and not mess it up.
Yeah, they don't have to pH correct it, they don't have to overthink it, they just put an ounce per gallon and water it on top of your one shot, and then nothing skips the beat.
Do you think do you think it makes sense to do some sort of like a microbe life, some sort of microbial or an SLF 100? What to activate some of that one shot maybe, or is that?
Originally, but that'd be part of your feed tea.
That wouldn't be something you'd like have someone when you come in and put some one shot. Or would you do that with your?
No, I wouldn't, because I don't trust anybody in my garden, let alone like here, come in and apply one shot in microbe life, and then hope nothing goes wrong. So no, when mine gone, it's like pre-measured cups. Everybody knows what they're doing, and you just don't even look. Just put this in, water it, and then get the hell out. Maybe just touch the plants.
Not very much.
Yeah, if you're a dude, get the hell out. If you're a woman, stick around, send your plants out, fill your feet with water, but don't overdo the thinking. No, and for him, it's literally just Gaia and water plus the one shot, and you're fine for the 4 to 5 days. Especially if you've been Roman feeding for 3-4 weeks in a row. You leave for 4 days, they're not going to be mad that you just watered them for a few days.
So at this point, feed heavier may be a better situation than if you were just doing like a grape kind of thing, because you do have a little more runway. You should have
more buildup in that soil. So
okay. He also asked, he's saying he uses quite a bit, but not so much that he could maybe afford justify larger sizes to save money on the size, unless they last quite a while. So if you get 2.5 instead of 1 gallons, how long are they going to last if you know you're not using maybe 2.5 garl, but you want to save money and then go longer on it?
I mean, on open 5 years, opened. Guaranteed a year. Well, I won't guarantee shit. But guarantee. No, I said it again. Guarantee. I'm lying to you. So no, basically,
in theory,
it's open about a year.
Okay.
If it's stored in good conditions, we see it 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
It's basically once the pH starts climbing because it got introduced to air, then the proteins start breaking down, it starts fermenting, then it becomes an alcohol, then it explodes, and it's a nightmare. And not like, building exploding, popping and rupturing bottles, not moving building
like a propane tank.
No.
Okay.
And with that too, it's, if you've been gardening with the line for a few runs, you have some bottles, buy the bigger size, funnel it down into the smaller size, and then just put that in the closet, and it'll be totally fine. The time it spoils is if you're opening it up, taking a teaspoon out, closing it. Every time you open it, we're introducing air, we're introducing pathogens, we're introducing problems. That's where you're going to run into trouble. So buy bigger sizes, just bottle them down when you get them. I love getting these guys that have 300 5-gallon buckets. If you're not buying a drum for me, you're an idiot. Because you're literally getting, it's so cheap in 55-gallon drums. And you have 300 5-gallon buckets sitting there, so just bottle it down the second you get it. You seal them all up. Those are good for a year and a half. And you're going to use it. And you just saved a godly amount of numbers. That's how you save in your commercial farms too, is
efficiency.
If you're buying 2.5 gallons, no, this stuff's stupid. If you're buying quarts for your commercial farm, you're not a commercial farm. You're literally a bragging, egotistical hobbyist.
Yes, I'm Junior says, hey, currently practicing on tomatoes outdoors. Just curious if we can get a video pushing veggies. Maybe a little more on the advanced end. What people are doing for flavor, what else with ripening, what to cut off outdoors, that sort of thing. So growing with vegetables, got it down, the basics, looking to to improve, but like improve maybe yield, but more flavor and color and that kind of thing? Where are the areas where you would experiment?
Man, I mean, it's such a bad time of year to even discuss that. So,
Yeah.
right now, I'd just be hitting them with more Herculean, more Gaia, maybe Aphrodites, and
You've done everything you're going to do at this point.
yeah, I mean, right now they're built. You should have tomatoes. If you don't have tomatoes right now, well,
it's a problem.
go to a U-pick because this game's almost over. I mean, we had nice rain last night here, so we're going to see blown out bottoms and a lot of leaching. But you know, the sample kit basically is your ideal.
Those are the main.
It really gets you all the flavor, all the yield. The chaos creates flower clusters like you would never believe on peppers and tomatoes. The Demeters is making all that calcium so you'll never get blossom end rot. The bone meal is giving you all the sugars and the bricks and the flavor in the fruit. It's also taking away that watery tomato and creating more of that meaty, thick tomato. It makes peppers hotter but with a lot more flavor on the front side. So I mean, keep it pretty simple. I like one shot in the sample kit, and that's what I would run in my garden with some Aphrodites.
Okay.
But we're planning on doing some vegetable gardening shows in the next 6 months.
Yeah, just as we get into
doing it again. Actually not cutting them down and overwintering our gardens.
So, Eric Rand says, had a 2.5 gallon container of SLF100. We were just talking about SLF100 the other day.
I saw that video.
And it turned green tint. I hadn't seen that before and didn't call them about it. It wasn't left in the sun or allowed to freeze. I should have called them.
No, you're fine. Well, I mean, you should have called him because Newton's a great guy and he'd give you the answer, but I'll give you the answer is that it cycles. That's an actual photosynthetic chlorophyll that's being created from the bacteria in his solution. So I have a very large container of it. I only use 3 to 5 mils with every gallon, and so that, I mean, I have it for months, so it cycles.
Yeah.
And it goes from green to kind of this purplish to, I mean, it's all just tints.
It's a circle of life thing going on
it's
in there.
It's literally a different, and every time you see a different change, you're getting a whole different consortium of bacteria in your soil, so you're literally putting diversity in every time. SLF cannot go bad. Like, scientifically, it is impossible. It is a remediation bacteria that will clean itself if it needs to. He has some stuff down there. Well, all I'm saying is that it can't go bad. The green is good. That means that there's life in there. It's creating single cell algae. It's a wonderful thing to have, so it just doesn't go bad. You're totally safe. But still call him. He's an awesome guy to talk to, especially if this next question you can ask what types of microbes are in there.
It's Charles Leese. He says, I wonder which...
This many times 1,000. So
that's a lot.
I'll start with one form of bacillus, and then we'll just take all the bacillus families, and then let's create all these up. When he starts talking, it's literally Greek, Spanish, and Japanese all blended together on all these different type of bacteria. I can't remember. I called her Wend, so I'm certainly not remembering names of different forms of bacteria. He could give you a bigger list. The biggest problem with SLF, he doesn't make a guaranteed analysis because every single time they lab their material, the profile comes back, the assay is completely different. This time it's this whole level of different types of bacteria, and the next time none of these are present, but all these are present, and it literally can be within a 3-day period.
And you take that same gallon and you do it again 3 days from now, it's over again. Not like different batch to batch, which is certainly different, but also the same batch is different.
Literally, the same gallon over a 6-month period of time will give you as many different results as you test. And that's the cool thing about his product is you're never getting the same thing. You're always getting the enzyme, but you're never getting the same bacterial life, so everything in there is always cycling. So you would have to call him, and again, since he can't make a guaranteed analysis on the label because all the Department of Ags will run out there and do a quick lab and then blast them on the public media saying, these spores aren't there, and these are all dead, and this and that and the other. It's like, well, but if you had taken it the day we took it, and here's the lab proof of what we've gotten, they still don't honor those. So he just says it's an enzyme. And it is. It's a self-generating enzyme. The more life you see growing in there, the more enzymatic it becomes. So if I see it growth, it's like our soil bags. When you open it up and there's hyphae growing in the plastic and you got mold over here, you're welcome. That is the life that we put into the soil that you pay for. We can make sterile soil, but then it's just dirt. And we don't like dirt. We believe in soil. You just had a bunch of soil ship out of here yesterday. Yeah, it's coming out daylight.
That's for the greenhouse.
Red Star. Should you add anything else during flower while using just one shot?
Depends how much one shot you put in. But yeah, I mean, you can, definitely. Most guys will add in the Herculean, mostly the liquid calcium lines, because with most calcium in the soil, it is not soluble, it's not available, the plants can't access it, even though the numbers from labs show you have a ton of calcium in the medium, none of it's available to the plant. So, even with the one shot, we put limestone, we put crushed bone, we put oyster shell, we put all these different fine mediums in there, knowing that not all of that's going to be available and around. So having liquid bone meal, the Herculean, the Demeters, the Aphrodites, any of those calcium liquid forms, once a week will just enhance the flower, the fruit, the sweetness. So if you had to, I would add just the liquid calcium parts of our line.
So you never say Zeus.
Well, because I have humics in the
other
one
things.
shot.
I got you.
The soil's a humic, the one shot's humic. We add humic acid to the one shot.
It's when we're doing so much of the other that we put the Zeus into, but they all have some of that in them.
Yeah, and again, humic acid's awesome, but more is not better. It's a waste of your money and time because you're just throwing money at something that once it's buffering. You don't need to keep hammering it on overdoses on one shot. One, you want to overdose with one shot, but not the Zeus. It's just worthless.
Okay.
Not worthless. Zeus is great. You just don't need more. Don't waste your money on more. Don't be American.
Yamacrew 250 says, how do you drop the pH of the soil using Nectar for the Gods? So he's got, maybe if you get some soil that's got a high pH to start, or maybe you're just drifting high.
Yeah.
What do you want to do to bring that down?
I mean, just start feeding it a lower pH for a week.
But not significantly lower. You don't want to go below maybe like 6.0 or somewhere in there?
Yeah, that's about it. 6.0.
That's like the bottom of the...
And then what I'll do, I mean, if it's really high, 7.2, 7.5 soil that I just can't get it to budge, I'll make up a slurry of, 1 to 2 ounces of Herculean. Just that, with water, have a pH to that 5.960, and I'll water it to where it's dense but not running out. And I want that organic acid to react in the base and start breaking down that base and converting it back into more of a neutral pH.
And is that part of the purpose of a flush, of a preventative flush, is to be a stronger version of mix? So like if we take our regular mix and we make a little lower pH, that's probably not going to be as effective as doing a flush with just Herc at that lower. Is that true?
Yeah, because I don't. Well, I mean, because I'm focusing on just reacting the alkalinity of the pH versus feeding the plant. So as long as I'm not focusing on plant feeding today, and I'm putting this down, because calcium is not most available at 6.0, but that limestone in the, or whatever is creating a high pH in the medium is active at 13. So if I put in a 6 pH Herc, it's going to react to that higher pH limestone and then start buffering that down or breaking it down. With limestone, if you take limestone and you throw an acid at it, it creates a ton of energy.
Sure.
It hydrolyzes the limestone and then breaks that down into a base. I mean, it breaks it down from a base back into a neutral. But you have to, it's like vinegar and baking soda. It's the same concept.
Okay, so we feel that Herc on its own is a more effective pH dropper than a normal feeding day, but we wouldn't want to skip normal feeding days on a regular basis to do that.
No. And if I had to, I'd do Gaia and Herc, really low pH, just to, because I just want to react the pH. I'm not focusing on feeding, but I'm trying not to like torture them with a bad pH.
Yeah, but they're still going to eat some of that Herc you're throwing up there. They're not going to starve on that day, but you're going to get more done to the point of the
because
pH.
your soil pH is so high, so even if you're at 6 and you're not delivering it as they're balancing, that'll raise the pH up of the Herc, bring the pH of the soil down, and then make them all available. So...
Okay.
If it's really bad, then unfortunately just like soybean or grape pumice, or there's dry amendments that are acidic, down to earth acid loving mix. They're just more acidic, like 5-8 fertilizers designed for acid loving plants. But don't over apply those, because I'd rather try to bring stuff down than try to bring stuff back up. Once your soil slips into the acidic side, it's a nightmare to try to get them to accept food. Their plants accept food at 7.0. I don't care what people say. Most good, healthy potting soils are 7.0.
Yeah.
People that are aiming for 6.0, I'm just baffled. I'm like, what are you doing? That's just pure nitrates, pure phosphates, pure potassium. There's no calcium going into your plant. That's when you get that straw, that hay, that, the lawn-tasting flower. Ugh. Shouldn't taste like a lawn. No. It should taste like the damn apple that it's called. Blueberries should be blueberries. Schnozberries should be schnozberries. You know the movie? Willy Wonka,
That's a
the
terrible
wallpaper.
This is a terrible movie. Those poor kids. Those
talking
kids
about?
weren't
Those
that
kids are
bad.
assholes.
Those kids weren't that
Are
bad.
you kidding? Veronica, or that little bitch? I would have made that girl fall in the goose pit a long time ago. Like, into the goose pit, bitch.
That poor fat boy. They roll off.
No, that was a girl. That was
Oh, that's
Violet.
right. Violet got rolled. Who's the one that got sucked through the tubes?
That was the fat kid from
That's
Sweden.
my nightmare. I
What's his name?
dream about that.
Gustav.
Gustav. Metagross. What's up, Metagross? One of our most prolific commenters. He says, so it sounds like it costs more to run one shot than it does to run the bottles. I think we're talking two different languages. I'm looking at adding one shot bi-weekly or as needed for smaller plants. 1 to 10 gallons sounds more like amending the soil for a longer term residuals. Gonna grab a bag and see what's up. Thank you all. So it sounds like he's putting too much in.
Yeah, we'll love you for the first 6 months of your growing, then you'll hate us for the rest because you'll be growing in one shot.
Yeah.
So one shot's designed to last 6 months. So if you just keep reapplying, you're compounding the problem.
Yeah.
And it's not, 25 pounds should treat 400 gallons of soil for 6 to 9 months. So depending if you grow 30 plants in that 400 gallons or one humongous plant, it's still 25 pounds at $66 wholesale, $100 retail. No, 1 5-gallon bucket of bone meals are more than that. So don't apply it that way.
Yeah.
Put it in at the beginning at that 1 ounce per gallon. That's it. No more. That's like a good heavy feeding.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're running low, maybe second, third week of bloom, you can scratch in another couple tablespoons.
It's like a handful you're sprinkling on there, not like putting cups.
3-gallon pot.
I got like a bucket, the big bucket, this one, with 2 plants in it. So am I sprinkling 1 handful, 2 handfuls?
But what are you growing?
They're tomatoes. They're big leaf tomatoes.
Like two.
Yeah, you grab a cup. Yeah, you got a couple handfuls of sprinkling. You're not like pouring.
No, it's not food. You're not going and going, okay, today you're getting this, because they're not eating that. Now it has to break down over like 3 weeks. It's going to start becoming soluble, and then the plant can access it. So it's not good to just apply. It's better to pre-emerge apply.
Yeah.
Then plant, let them eat it, and then if you need more mid-bloom, then you just sprinkle a little bit more on and let them have it.
So, I have a question. Things in your garden like your arborvitae you're planting or something like that, things like that. Does one shot work with woody type things like that too?
Or is it everything? But it's not
really everything. It's not made
effective.
for that. Yeah. But like when you're first planting something to give it a head start or something, would you throw some in there maybe?
Oh, sure.
But you wouldn't.
I wouldn't go out and treat arborvitaes with it because they're a worthless tree and they just
they're gonna
most
grow.
of them they're gonna just go out there and pee on them every other day and they're gonna grow big.
But anything in your garden is going to benefit from it. It's just a diminishing return situation.
It really, I use it only on edible crops because I want to eat really good tasting things. But I won't put it on my azalea.
The intent is to get some complexity to flavor, not to get something to grow big and strong.
Everything's super healthy, super beautiful, but it's not. You can do that with just bone meal, and you can do that with just feather meal, and you can do that with just accelerator azomite. You can just put down the meals for the same thing for a tree, a shrub, a flowering begonia. But for anything that you like, roses, anything that's ornamental, that's super fancy and pretty, and if you're a prized orchid grower, if you're a prized rose grower, if you like that stuff, then great. We have that peony woman up in Alaska who crushes acres of peonies with one shot, and she's like, man, my blooms last longer. They have aroma, which they're not very aromatic. It's not the best for trees. It's great for trees, but it's stupid expensive for trees. Then this guy's right. That shit's way good.
Way
good.
good.
Just throw a freaking guy on him and put that stuff on. It's just not worth doing. Like lawn food, it's not the best for. What one shot sucks at is corn, lawns, because they want that nitrogen ratio.
They want something.
We don't have enough nitrogen in there for lawns and corn. Anything grass related.
I got you.
But everything else will love it.
Okay. Chris Williams. Hey guys, I've really enjoyed this show. It's been extremely helpful and informative. I'm using Nectar Roman regimen, and I'm loving the results I'm having. The flavor and quality of the flowers is great. My only issue is that I'm not getting the yield I would like. Do you have any tips or know any products I can use in tandem with Nectar to increase yields?
If you're using the Roman and not getting the yields, change your genetics. Because it truly is, it's a genetic game. And I've talked to 100 growers that are like, you put out the pyramid, what's most important? Genetics, nutrition, environment, or gardener? Mm-hmm. And genetics are always on the top of the pyramid because I can grow the thing I love the most, but it doesn't yield. No matter what you do, it's not going to yield. Yeah. And I can put, paclobutrazine in there and it's not going to yield for me. So you have to pick your genetics wisely for yield. And if it's something you love, you have to sacrifice yield for something you love. And that's where a lot of these growers come in. I mean, Pig Farmer, one of our favorite, he grows something, he's like, I get 1 pound per plant, per light, that's it. And it's one that's my worst yielding one, but it's my biggest selling one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you're running cookies, get over it. You're running cookies. They don't yield. They put out really dense nuggets of poison. Get really high on them, and that is all. You're never pulling 14 pounds of light. So it's just genetics.
Okay.
And then chaos.
Chaos backed up with Herc.
Yeah, you can make anything yield heavy enough, but you're not going to want to afford it. You're not going to want to taste it. You're not going to want to consume it because you've now tortured it. So find different genetics. I won't say better because it's all relative and opinionated, but yeah, it's never the nutrition. If you put them all head to head, well, I mean, we just talked about it. We're going head to head with synthetics, automated, blah, 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 and we're tripling the yield.
Yeah.
Some people are. She is.
Well, if you've got 6 years of product that's going to rot in a year and a half, it really doesn't matter what your yield was.
No, but if you're a home grower and you allowed 4 plants and you got 2 sick individuals in your home, then it's really important to get the medicine that you need for that cycle. So, first to me, I look at medicinal qualities, I look at terpene profiles, then I look at yield, and I try to triangulate that to see what's going to be best for our family. Like, how can I keep everybody healthy, but without running out and having to run down to the dispensary and buy more. And that's the trick.
Boom!
So, better genetics.
There you go.
And then...
it's like Jim, my buddy Jim. He was, he passed on, but he was like 95, and he smoked. Always.
Smoked what?
Always. Just cigarettes. Camels. No filter. He's like this. His thumb was brown from the smoke. Wafting up, and he was a pretty healthy guy until he finally passed on, and I assume it was genetics.
I'm guessing so, because with camels. Yeah, but he was back in the day when camels weren't poisoning them. What got him is when they started poisoning them about 80, and it took 15 years to kill them.
Yep. So he ate a lot of
negative. I'm supposed to say YA is supposed to send us in that auto.
The chart. Someone was asking about the chart. We need the auto flower charts. If you've got
KA said tell YA to send it in. YA doesn't want to share it because KA said share it with Scott. YA's like, no. And so send that shit in. And there was something else I was supposed to say.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. The itches are bad today. Yeah, I don't know. Have to think about it.
Well, tomorrow's another day. I can mention it on the show then.
There it is.
All right. I love you. Scott's fond of you. Wendy,
me too.
She doesn't know you that well, but she loves you anyway because she's just that kind of person.
She is kind of that person. She flew all the way out here yesterday from Illinois just to learn more. I don't know. And she's probably going to teach us more today than anything else. So we'll see. But look for Progressive Treatment Alternative Solutions. Look for their products. But right now it's only medicinal.
Yes, until January.
Till January. And then, all we have to do is prove to Illinois that flavor is something, taste does matter, and there is medicinal qualities and recreational properties to high terpene profiles.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing we need to discuss nowadays. It's not, we're all going to lose the big game here, folks. There's some big players coming into the field and they want to grow mids, and it's up to very small selected farms to grow top shelf. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of them. Not all Nectar people. There's a lot of no-till people. There's a lot of great farms locally that are doing different alternatives. Some of us just like those really enhanced flavors. So you guys keep doing the good fight and keep that top shelf a top shelf and stop paying for bullshit labs and actually demand terpene profile labs at your dispensary. I think that's the most important. If you go in as a customer and say, I want to see what terpenes are in here, and don't just have the one that everybody has, start looking at terpene profiles. If they can't provide them, maybe you should find a new place to shop.
There you go.
Sense.
Coach them up.
That's right. Happy Memorial Labor End of Summer Day.
Yeah.
It's Labor Day.
Which one? This one's the Labor Day one, right? I never get it mixed up.
Me neither.
Yeah, we think it's Labor Day. Happy Labor Day or Memorial Day if that's the one.
Happy 3-day weekend coming.
No, wait a minute. When's the Indy 500? Isn't that Memorial Day?
It's Memorial.
See, then this one's Labor Day.
Labor Day.
All right.
But isn't there an Indy race up at Portland this weekend?
There is indeed.
Are you going?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
What the hell's wrong with you? You like IndyCar.
No, I like Formula One.
Oh.
Yeah, IndyCar's kind of... It's dangerous. They keep killing people.
Isn't that... It's like why people watch hockey. The same reason why they watch racing.
No!
They want to see somebody
Hockey's like you grab the
die.
shirt and pull it over and give them a couple shots in their helmet. Nobody really gets hurt in that thing. Nobody gets curb stomped in hockey.
No, they get board stomped. There's an actual curb.
I've never seen a whole hockey game in my life. Never seen a whole hockey game in my life.
All right.
All right.